Hello students. Today we are going to start section B, and the first topic in section B is strategic planning. This is completely a theory topic. So the presentation what I made will help you to understand the things based on the LOS by IMA. The topic is completely based on the LOS prescribed by IMA USA. Okay, so we'll go and see what is strategic planning. So first of all, what is planning? So normally we say if you are failing to plan, that means you are actually planning to fail. So in a corporate world, we can say planning is like a strategic roadmap. You are making a roadmap. What is need to be done? Timeliness, when that should be done, where it has to be done, the locations, and who will be doing. So you will have a clear plan before you start doing anything. Here we have an example. If a company aims to expand its market share, so you have to go through different planning process, such as I have to do a market research, I have to do a product development, and what marketing strategies I have to implement. All this I should have a plan in the beginning itself. So this comprehensive plan that will assure that all organizational members are aligned in their efforts to decide the objective of the company. The company will have an objective, maybe to reach the market share of 70%. For that, you made a plan. So all the organizational members has to work or align their effort to achieve this goal. And this slide is actually talking about forecasting. Forecasting is actually a foundation for planning. So as the name indicates, we know we are trying to estimate or trying to anticipate something that may happen in future. It is not necessary that that is going to happen, but still reasonably we think that that is going to happen. So it will give us what is the future trend and what is the potential challenges that you are going to face. So if you know what is the future trends and what challenges you may have, so you can make a well plan in advance. For instance, a technology company might use forecasting for what? To predict upcoming industry trends. For example, you want to know what could be the sales that may happen in the coming period. So this will enable them to plan accordingly. If the sales are so high, they have to plan for the resources. They need more human power. They need more raw materials. Or they might have to look for better facilities. So you will have a clear plan if you know things in advance. So this forecasting we will be studying in this section B, but later in a different chapter. So this proactive approach allows organization to adjust their plans. So when you have a forecasted figures, based on that figures, maybe you can adjust your plan based on the forecasted circumstances which may change or which may not change. So based on that, you can adjust your plans. And in planning, we have to follow something called a means-end relationship. The meaning of means-end relationship is that a lower level is performing their task, and that task is going to be the mean, or we can say the way to reach the task or the objective of the next higher level. So that's what means-end relationship. For the lower level, that is the end. When they completed that work, that is the end of the story. But for the higher level, that's only a beginning of the story. They will start from what the lower level have done. So means and relationship is in a corporate context is a vital concept. This establish a seamless connection between various organization level. You will have higher level, intermediate level, and lower levels. How all these are connected with the primary goals of the company. So this alignment is actually ensuring that the objective at each level contribute effectively to the static aim of the level above. Okay, we can see an example here. What is means and relationship? You have uh, a scenario where employee is assigned to a specific project task within the team. So an employee have his own task to be finished. In this context, employee's task serves as a means through which the team achieves its objective. So if this employee is performing well whatever he's supposed to do, then that is going to be an input to contribute towards the collective task of the team. And when all the team is performing well, their achievements going to play a crucial role in advancing broader goals of the entire company. So there is a hierarchy. So this hierarchical interconnection ensures a combined and consistent effort throughout the organization. And it is going to align everyone to achieve the objective of the company. So before we start doing anything, we have to set first goals and objective, right? We are planning now, but we are planning for what? Where we want to go? We have to decide that first. That is what setting goals and objective. Setting goals and objective. So it is mentioned here, planning process centers on a company's goals and objectives. Because efficient planning is not possible if you don't know where you are going. So you should have an objective in front of you. So normally these objectives are set by the top level management, the company objectives, but goals are established normally by the divisional level or at the divisional level. Here we have an example. A tech company's organizational objective, the objective of the organization is to increase market share by 15%. That is for the company as a whole. But at the divisional level, a goal should be set for the software development division to release a product meeting meeting emerging market demands. So for that particular software division, they have to release a product. So that is their goal. But company's overall goal is to increase the market share by 15%. So in this means and hierarchy, the objectives are set normally by the top level management, and that will be translated downwards in specific terms. But it is not necessary that maybe all the employees will be agreeing with this objective. But there is a need for widespread acceptance. Maybe an employee is not happy with the objectives or goals set. But still, when it is accepted by the organization, he have to follow it. For instance, a software developer may have different opinion on the technology stack, but he must work in accordance with agreed upon plan. Even though he is having different opinion, but whatever accepted by the organization, you have to follow that. And we will have different types of plans. We have long-term plans. This is actually called as also strategic plans. This is for more than 5 years. Normally when you are making a plan, so it is more than 5 years. That is what actually a long-term or strategical plan. So you will have a broad objective, and this is normally done by top level management. And what is the focus? What needs to be achieved? But there is no details. There is no specific operational details how it should be done. That will not be there in long-term plans. So companies, an example, companies strategic plan might aim to expand its global market. That is a strategic plan, but there is no details in within next decade. So this plan has to be there. This is a long-term plan. It is from this long-term plan input for budgeting or input for short-term plans or operation plans are getting. So this plan is then translated into measurable intermediate operational plans, or we can say master budget. So we should have first a long-term strategic plan, and that plan will be split into short-term plans, and that short-term plans will have details of operation, how this can be achieved. But in the long-term plan, you will just have a general idea about what need to be done. So this is, as we said, made by top level management, looks at strategies, objectives and goal of the company and internal and external factors affecting the company. Then we have intermediate or tactical plans. This is normally for 1 to 5 years, and this is going to implement specific parts of the strategic plan. So strategic plan you have here, the bigger plan. So this is going to be specific parts of the strategic plan. Then you have short-term or operational plans. This is normally less than 1 year in time. This relates usually to production, materials, requirements and staffing, cash flows, income statement. This is what we are going to study in detail in the coming chapter, which is called as budgeting. So from where the budget is getting derived, it is from the intermediate plans. From where the intermediate plan is getting derived, that is from the strategic plans. So it is all aligned. So normally the short-term or operational plans are developed by middle or low-level managers, and these are the primary basics for budgets. And also this is giving a basis for developing the programs or whatever the policies company is following, and also performance expectations from each department or each person. For what? To reach strategic goal of the company. There are some other different types of plans. Single purpose plans. This plan is only for a specific project. We have a project and we made a plan for it, and that is only the plan what you made is only for that particular project. So that is a single purpose plans. Maybe you have standing purpose plans. These plans are used multiple times for a recurring project or effort. For example, you are a software company. Every time when you are going for a software development and implementation, you will have a plan how it is going to get start and how it is going to end. So this plan you will be using multiple times whenever you are getting a new project. So that's what a standing purpose plans. Then we have a contingency planning. This is planning for disruptions to the business. So if something goes wrong with your business, what you are going to do? It is also called as disaster recovery planning. We can say an example. A marketing team creates a single purpose plan for launching a new product. So that is only for launching that particular product, that we call it a single purpose plan. But simultaneously they maintain a standing purpose plan for routine marketing campaigns. So they have routine marketing campaigns. So how they will do each marketing campaign, for that they have a plan. The team also engage in a contingency planning. For what? To address unforeseen events, ensuring business continuity. If um, something is going to interrupt you in future, at that time what you are going to do? What is your plan? That is what contingency plan is. A contingency planning is a planning that a company develops to prepare for possible events. It is sometimes called as what if planning or scenario planning. And it is normally involving considering alternatives. If something goes wrong, is there any alternative in front of you? That is what actually contingent planning means. And contingency planning involves developing two or more plans. So you will implement one plan, and the second plan you use if your first plan failed. So when plan is already in place for a potential negative event or threat, the company can quickly implement an appropriate alternative to diminish the damage. So you have a plan B. So your future events, that is not going to impact you much, because you can immediately switch to your second plan. That is what we call as contingency planning or scenario planning. Then we have policies, procedures and rules. So once the objectives are formulated, what's the next step in planning process? Development of policies, procedures and rules. So you have your objective now. So based on that, what is going to be the policies and the procedures and the rules? The intermediate and operational plans are translated into policies, procedures and rules. So now you can see you have an operational plans. Based on that, you are preparing your policies, procedures and rules. And this is going to be your standing plans for repetitive situations. Now, what is going to be policy? Policies are general statements that guide thinking and action in decision making. It is general statement. So here we can say, in a company, the policy of the company is prioritizing customer satisfaction. That is the policy of the company. So in all decision making process, they have to keep this in the first place. So every decision what you are making, are you prioritizing the customer satisfaction? Because that is what the policy of the company. Then procedures. These are specific directives that define how work is to be done. How you will do that work. For that, what is the procedure? Example, in the context of a product development, you are going to develop a product. So there is a procedure detailing steps for quality control testing. So you have a procedure that is mentioning the steps in which you have to go through to make sure the quality is high for your product. So that's what procedure is. Then rules. Rules are specific detailed guides that restrict the behavior. Again, we have an example within standing purpose plan for a routine marketing campaigns. You have to do a routine marketing campaigns always. So there is some certain rule that regarding frequency of the campaigns you have to do, or the content guidelines, what type of content you have to display in your marketing. There is a certain rules regarding that. So these are policy, procedures, and rules, and you have to formulate this once you have your objectives are ready. Now here we are talking about planning, budgeting, and performance evaluation. We talked about planning. So first we will plan based on the objectives where we need to go. We will have a plan. So that strategic plan will be translated downwards into operational plans. That is what budgeting is. So budgeting means actually you are allocating your resources for your to reach your short-term goals. Now you have a budget in your hand. My sales has to be 100 million as per my budget, but your actual sale is 90 million only, 10 million less. So there is a difference. Or sales manager have to achieve uh, you know 100 million sales, but he didn't achieve this. So we have to ascertain his performance. We have to sorry his performance we have to evaluate his performance. So the first is planning. Based on that you have a budget, and then you will check, is the actually happening things are in line with the budget. So you have a budget sale of 100,000. Is that what you sold this year? If there is any difference, we have to show that in your reports. So this is what we are going to do in the coming presentations. So in this chapter we will be focusing more on planning, budgeting, forecasting, and in the next section, in this section we will be doing planning, budgeting, and forecasting. In the next section, which is section C, we will be doing performance evaluation. But the thing what we have to understand is that all these are interconnected. So it will be like this. First you will do an initial planning. Okay, so the managers develop initial plans based on what? Based on the goals and objectives. So these plans may include various elements such as marketing strategies, you have operational plans, resource allocation, everything is there. Now based on this you will do budgeting. And managers create budgets that align with established plans. So you have a plan here. Based on that you will do a budget. So budgeting is what? It is allocating your resources to different activities so that you will achieve your planned actions. So you have a plan now and you have a budget. Now you have to implement plans and budgets put into action. Then what you will do? You will get feedback from the cross-functional team and managers. As the implementation in progress, budgetary reports provide feedback on financial aspects of the activities. And based on this feedback, maybe you have to revise your plans because things are not correct in the first place. So managers analyze feedback from budgeting process. And if there are significant discrepancies or unexpected challenges, then managers may decide to revise their plans. So it is based on the feedback what they got from the budgeting activities. the plans may change. And this is going to be an iterative process. So now again they will change the plan. Based on that, the down level managers, they will make the budget, and maybe it will put into a feedback mechanism, and the feedbacks are coming from the information put in place everywhere. Again, there is some need of revising the plans. So this is going to be an iterative process. This is going to happen multiple times. And finally, you will adopt your final plans and budgets after this multiple iterations. So once you adopt the final plan, then it is about implementation and control. So company moves then into implementation phase to achieve its goals. Now here, actual results are continually compared with your plans. So that is why we call the budget as a control tool. We are supposed to have a marketing expenses of 1 million, and we already reached 900,000. So we have only 100,000 left. So you cannot do more marketing. So there is a control on your marketing expenses now. So that is why we call budget as a control tool. Then again, you will have your feedback and revision. In the control process, any significant deviation, any big deviations between actuals and the budget may prompt a reassessment of prior plans. So there is a big difference between actually what happened and what was planned. So what was in the budget. So this will prompt the top level management to revise the plan, because there is significant difference between the plans and what actually happened. So this for evaluation can lead to new plans, or maybe change in the operations, or revision to the budget. We have an example. If marketing campaigns fall short of expected sales, then managers may revise promotional strategies. The sales are not enough, so you have to revise your promotional strategies or adjust the budget allocation for the future campaigns. Now, adaptation to changed conditions. So now you have to adapt to what are the changes happening in the market. So when you are adapting to the changes, or you are flexible, then organization remains responsive for what to dynamic circumstances that is happening in the market. So the process of comparing these actual results to plans and budgets, making adjustments and incorporating changed conditions become iterative planning cycle. And this cycle ensures ongoing refinement and optimization. So your organization is able to adapt change quickly, or if there is any change that need to be made, that is going to be possible for organization where they are following a flexible way of setting up planning, budgeting, and performance evaluation. So now from here onwards, we will start with strategic planning process. The formal strategic planning process consists of 5 steps. Actually, the planning process that consists of 5 steps. The first is define company's mission. Then analyze the external environment of the organization. Then also analyze internal environment. What is happening inside the company, and external is what is happening outside the company, or what is the environment in which company is operating externally and internally. Then based on this formulate selected strategies. So that is going to optimize the strength of the company, and that is going to correct what are the weakness company is having. Then develop and implementing chosen strategies. These are the 5 steps, and we'll go in details. The first, defining company's mission. So every company should have a mission, and normally companies will have a mission statement. So the mission statement provides a framework within which strategies will be formulated. So the mission statement includes following components: a statement of reason to be. What is our business and what it will be and what should it be? And also it will have a vision. So vision is a statement of desired future state where the company is expected to go. So vision is what company would like to achieve, and it should be challenging. So there is a difference that we need to be discussed as per LOS of IMA USA, the difference between vision and mission. So vision focus is like the vision is future oriented, focusing on the desired end state or impact on organizations seeks to achieve. So it is mostly it is future oriented, where the company want to go. The mission focus is more on present oriented, focusing on core purpose and activities of the organization in the current state. For example, here we can see the technology company's vision might be to be a global leader in innovation. That is the vision of the company. The company need to be a global leader in the innovation, while its mission will be to provide cutting edge technology solutions to enhance customer productivity. So it is a continuous activities that is going on, providing cutting edge technology solution to your customers. So that's the difference between mission and vision. So just vision is focusing on future and mission is mainly focusing on the present. So defining company's mission, we are continuing because people in each department are most closely connected with the goals of their own departments. There is risk that employees will develop tunnel vision. What is tunnel vision? When employees become so concerned with their own goals or their own department's goal, and they are not looking towards the company's goal as a whole. That is what we call as tunnel vision. They are not seeing anything outside, they are just focusing on their own activities and how they are doing it. Actually, they have to work for the company. So their vision has to be, or their work or their activities has to be in lines with the objective of the company. It should not be like a sales manager will think only about how he will achieve his target. No, it should not be like that. He has to work toward the objective of the company as a whole, what he can do. So managers need to be certain that they do not lose sight of the company's goals. So company's goals we have to keep in the first, not personal goal or departmental goal. So when goal of one level of the company fit with the goals of the next highest level, the company has achieved a means end relationship. Now this is another lowest term. You can find how the mission leads to formulation of long-term business objective. How mission is going to lead to formulate your long-term business objective. So we will discuss that here. Mission, it's about what the company wants to achieve and how it wants to do good things. So mission is all about what company want to achieve and how they are going to achieve it. For example, a mission could be about making products. That is what mission. Making products that makes people's life better or helping communities. So this is what your mission is now. And you have different objectives. So how your mission leading to formulate this objective. For example, the first objective is business diversification. So your mission is what? Doing, making products that make lives better for the community or the customers. So if a company's mission is about doing different good things, it might want to diversify, which means that trying new and related things. Example, if the company makes healthy snacks and its mission is to promote well-being, it might diversify by creating new products like natural drinks or organic food. This is based on what? This is based on their vision. What is their vision? Give or make better products to make people's life better. So they have to diversify. They have to increase the number of products what they have. Adding or removing products, this is another objective, business objective. How we can link this to your mission. If a company's mission is to provide affordable and quality clothing, it might add new styles and remove old ones based on what aligns best with its mission. So the mission link is that what products fit with the company's main goal and what doesn't. If something is there that is not fitting with the company's goal, then you have to remove those products. Even penetrating new markets. If the company makes eco-friendly products and its mission is to help the environment, it might enter into new market by selling its products in different cities or even in different countries. So again, you are linking this business objective to your mission. What is your mission? If company want to share its good products with more people, then you have to penetrate into new markets. So first step was define a mission, and the second step in formulating your strategical plan is analyzing the external environment. So you have to analyze the environment in which your companies or your corporation is operating. What industry you are in and who are your rivals. What is your competitive position? What is the nature of the industry? Or maybe country or international environment, domestic and international political risk. Possibility of war, expropriation. Expropriation means the chance of the government is taking over the company. Also, you have to consider macro environment like economic growth in which economic growth of the country in which you are working, level of interest rates, inflation, environmental protection laws, national tax policy. All this you have to analyze before you create any strategical move in the organization. Is the environmental protection laws are in favor of us or is it against us? Or the tax policy of the country is in favor of us or it is not so good. So we have to analyze all this. So analyze the external environment. The third is analyze the internal environment. So what strength you have or what weakness and limitation you have within the organization. Or we can say what resources you have and what capabilities you have that need to be assessed. So strengths lead to superior performance in areas of efficiency, quality, innovation, responsiveness to customers. So when we are talking about the strength, that is going to lead for superior performance. But weakness and limitations going to lead to inferior performance. So you have to analyze what is the strength of your organization and what weakness you have. Maybe you have very good human resources, trained employees. That is a plus point for you. But you don't have enough cash flow. Maybe that is the weakness or limitation for you. So you have to analyze each and every aspect internally. So internal factors that should be analyzed is resources and capabilities. So resources are factors that enable company to create value for its customers. These resources can be financial resources, it can be physical or it can be human resource, it can be technological resource, it can be tangible or it can be intangible. So tangible resources we can say the land, buildings, inventory, cash, all this what a company is having is what tangible resources. And intangible resources we can say brand name, the reputation of the company, it's an intangible resource, intellectual property such as patent right or trademark or trained employees, all these are intangible resources. So these are the resources. But you have a lot of resources. Are you able to coordinate all its resources efficiently or productively? That is another concern we have. A company's capabilities are the results of the organizational structure, processes, and control system. And they are intangible because they are a function of the way individuals within the organization interact, cooperate, and make decisions. So whether you are able to utilize your resources at your best. Do you have the capability for that? That is what we are analyzing here. So a company might have valuable resources, but without the capability to use them effectively, it may not be able to create distinctive competency. So that was the third step, internal factors that need to be analyzed. Then you can formulate strategies, or we will do SWOT analysis. As you know, SWOT analysis means strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. You have to analyze what strengths company is having, what opportunities left with the company, what is the threats the company is going to face, and what are the weaknesses. So the purpose of SWOT analysis is to optimize the organization's strength and correct its weaknesses. And SWOT analysis is useful technique for understanding your strength and weakness, and for identifying both opportunities open to you and threats what you are going to face. So what is your strength and what is your weakness, and what opportunities are there in front of you, and what are the threats you may face. So SWOT analysis consists of generating a series of strategies. And these strategies can be a functional level strategy. That means you are implementing a strategy pertaining to your operations, improving operations. HR implements a training program to enhance employee skills and productivity. So this strategy, we can say it's a functional strategy. Then business level strategy, which includes the position of the business in the marketplace as well as different positioning strategies that could be used. So you are following a differentiation strategy and you are in a smartphone company to position your products as premium in a competitive market. So you are bringing up some differentiation strategy for your product. That is a business level strategy. Then you have global strategy, considering how you can expand the operation outside the country. Multinational fast food chain standardizes menus globally for operational efficiency and cost reduction. And also you can have corporate level strategy. Diversified company decides to maximize profitability by divesting from the healthcare and focusing more on technology sector. So you are cutting down your efforts in the healthcare and you are focusing more on technology sector. So this is a corporate level strategy. So what business or businesses company should keep to maximize its long run profitability? And this is an example of SWOT analysis. We can see we have all the four aspects here: strength and weaknesses, opportunities and threats. What is your strength? I have a positive brand recognition for my company. That's a strength. What is weakness? No, I don't have a brand recognition. I'm having intellectual property. I have a patent right for the technology what I'm using. For this company may be expiring the intellectual property. So these are listed here: strength and weaknesses. Cost advantage, I am buying goods at low cost, but here cost is high. I have skilled workforce, but here my workforce is not so skilled, so it's a weakness for the company. I have financial resources is good, but this company, we can say, maybe there is no financial resources, they don't have enough cash flow. So this is what strength and weaknesses. Then opportunities, new technology for this company can be an opportunity. They have a new technology. Maybe that can be a threat also for you. Emergence of another new technology is coming up. So maybe the technology in which you are working may go out of business. Another opportunity may be government policies. They are relaxing the policies. That's an opportunity in front of you. So you have to act based on that. Threats, you have pending government regulations. Elimination of international trade barriers, that's an opportunity. Increasing trade barriers, this is a threat. Pending lawsuit, it's a threat. new technology coming up, it can be a threat, or technology is changing. Consumer preference is being changing. That can be an opportunity. It's all based on what product you are working on. Then now, the fifth step is developing and implementing chosen strategies. Once the set of strategies have been chosen to achieve competitive advantage and increase performance, the strategies must be translated into action. So now you have to translate the strategies, whatever you made, into action. This is what we call it as strategy implementation. So implementing strategy involves decision about how to use organizational structure and corporate culture and control environment to achieve company's goal and execute its business model. So these are the 5 steps in strategical planning. Now what we have is like some certain tools and techniques that you can use for planning. So that's what we are going to discuss now. The first one is situation analysis. In systematic collection and it is the systematic collection and evaluation of external and internal forces that can affect organization performance and choice of strategies, and assessing the organization current and future strength, weakness, opportunities and strength. Or in simple term, you are analyzing the situation of the company externally and internally, or finding out what strength, what weakness this organization is having, or what's the opportunity in front of this company, and what are the threats it is in front of this company. So we will do that using SWOT analysis. Then what we have is pest analysis. This is political, economical, social and technological factors. So before you implement a strategy, you have to do an analysis of this. Political factors. This involve government of a country behaves, how the government of a country behaves. These are normally out of the control of the business. So the business must understand how political change can affect the organization. So some political factors you have to consider is trade regulations. There are some restrictions of trade. Pricing regulations. You cannot have whatever price you have. There is a regulation by government. Tariffs, import duty or export duty. These are high. Wage legislation, such as minimum wage requirement. You have to pay a certain minimum wage to your employees. And health and safety regulations. All these are political. You have to analyze all these things before you implement or before you start doing a strategic plan. Also, you have to consider economic factors like inflation rates, interest rates, how the economy is growing or contracting. All these things we have to consider. Also, social factors like education level, leisure interest of the population. Again, your strategy is based on these factors. And finally, technological factors help business determine what technology to focus on in the future. So this is what actually PEST, political, economical, social and technological factors you have to work on, or you have to study to formulate a strategic plan. Another tool what you will have in front of you is competitive analysis. So you will analyze your competition in front of you. So you will define who are your competitors. what is their strength and what is their weaknesses, and analyze your own internal strength and internal weakness, and what customers are looking for, what is their needs, and study any barriers to the market for both the company and its competitors. So is there any barriers to enter into this market, like a copyright or high level of knowledge required for success or high startup cost? Is there any barriers like that to enter into this market or not? Developing a strategic plan that reflects the finding from the above strategies. So you have to analyze all this, and from the findings what you have, develop your strategic plan. This is competitive analysis. Another tool what we use is called as BCG growth share metrics. I have couple of students, they got this topic in their essay, BCG growth and share metrics. This is an easy topic, a planning tool that uses a graphical representations of companies' products and services in an effort to help company decide what product it should keep or what product it should sell or what product he will invest more in. So BCG growth share matrix plots a company's offerings in 4 square metrics, with the y-axis representing a rate of market growth. So in the y-axis you will have market growth, and in the x-axis you will have market share. So we will see this in the coming slide. So you can see here, this is the y-axis, and here what you have is market growth, and here this is market share. And you can see here growth low, growth high, share high, share low. So you will categorize your products into these 4 categories. These are stars, cash cows, question marks, and dogs. We will see in the next slide what are all this means to you. So BCG growth share matrix breaks down products into 4 categories: dogs, cows, stars, and unknown. If a company's products has low market share and is in low rate of growth, it is considered as dog. So you can see here you can see the rate of growth is low and the market is low, market share is low. So this is considered as low. This one is in low and low. So this will be considered as dogs, and this should be sold off. You don't have enough sales for this, and it is also not growing. Then products that are in the low growth areas but the company has large market share are considered cows, meaning that the company should milk the cash cow as long as it can. So that is what here cash cows. The market growth is low, you are actually reach in a stagnant situation, but you have bigger market share. Even though it is not growing, you have a bigger market share. So cash the cow now. That is cash cows. Then you have products that are both in high growth markets and make a sizable portion of the market share called as stars. Here we can see you have big market share and the growth is also high. So these products are going to be considered as stars, and you have to invest more into these products. Then questionable opportunities are those high growth rate markets but in which the company doesn't maintain a large market share, and this need to be analyzed more. You can see here market share is low but the chance of growth is high. So you have to analyze this more. So this is one of the tool we will be using again in making the strategies. It is called as BCG growth share matrix. Then another tool what we use is Porter's 5 forces. Porter's 5 forces is an analytical framework for assessing business competitiveness strategies in a particular market. So Michael E. Porter, a professor at Harvard Business School, developed the framework. And this includes an analysis of 5 concurrent forces that affects business ability to compete. So what are the forces that affect your ability to compete? The first one is threats of substitute products from competitors, including product differentiation, price performance of substitutes, and buyers' ability to switch to a substitute. So threats from the substitute. Maybe your buyers will switch to that product. This is one of the one of the force you have to consider. What threats you have from your competitors for your product. Then threat of entry of new competitors. So what is the chance of new competitors came or new competitors coming into your market? Is there any government regulation, or is your product required huge amount of investment, or is there any patent right or copyright for you? So this we have to analyze. Is it possible for anybody to enter into this market easily or not? That's what the threat of entry of new competitors. Then also you have to analyze intensity of the rivalry. How intense is the competition? How many competitors are there? And how the firms are growing. So all this we have to analyze also. And also you have to check bargaining power of customers. Or is there any prohibitive switching cost to buyers? For example, you have a committed cost of telephone expenses. How, when you want to buy a SIM card, for example, they offered you a mobile, and the condition is that you can pay for this mobile in 2 years. And if you don't, if you don't want the SIM card, then you have to pay a penalty when you are canceling this contract. So it is a 2 years contract. So here there is a switching cost. If a customer want to change the SIM card, he has to pay a lot of money to the company. So is there any way that you can hold them? The bargaining power of the customers are high or low? Or is the customers are relying only on your products, then they don't have bargaining power. So this we have to consider. Then bargaining power of suppliers also we have to consider. So how many suppliers you have? So you have a lot of suppliers, or you have only one supplier? Then bargaining power of the supplier is very high. Whatever price he said, we have to pay him. So all these we have to consider as per Porter's 5 forces. That is what's shown here. Threat of new entrants, bargaining power of buyers and bargaining power of suppliers, threat of substitute products, and rivalry among existing competitors. So these are Porter's 5 forces to analyze the competitiveness of the company. And also porters have some generic strategies. This is also there in your LOS. Porter has argued that a firm's strengths ultimately fall into one of the three generic strategies. Your strength is going to, or your company's strength is going to fall in three categories, three strategies. One is cost advantage. In short or in simple way, you are selling your products at low cost. Differentiation, you are always adding more innovation or features to your product and you are selling. Focus, your company is focusing on a certain range of or certain customers only. So these are the three generic strategies that will lead you to success. It can be you are a cost leader, or it can be you are an innovator, or you are focusing on just a small range or a narrow range. So cost leadership, superior profits through lower cost. So your cost is so low, and all the people are coming and buy from you in bulk quantity. An example is Walmart or Tesco. Differentiation, creating a product or service that is perceived to be unique throughout the industry. So you have a uniqueness. So because of that, people are coming and buying from you. Then focus, concentrating on limited part of the market. So these are the three generic strategies as per Porter. And it has been explained here. Cost leadership strategy, aiming to become lowest cost producer. So your aim is to become low cost producer. Competitive advantage is achieved by driving down the cost. So your benefit is what? Your cost is low. The firm can compete on the price with every other industries and earn higher unit profits. Especially beneficial where customers are price sensitive. So you are aiming more on the cost, how you can reduce the cost and how you are going to serve the people. Differentiation strategy. A differentiation strategy calls for development of a product or service that offers unique attributes and that are valued by customers. So customers believe the product is different and it is better than rivals. So the value added by this uniqueness of the product may allow firm to charge a premium price also. And this differentiation can be based on product image or the durability of the product, it is long lasting, or maybe better after sale service. That's the differentiation you are providing, or high quality product, or maybe different features. This is differentiation strategy. Then focus strategy. The focus strategy concentrates on narrow segment and within that segment attempts to achieve either a cost advantage or differentiation. So you are focusing on a narrow segment. The premise is that the need of the group can be better serviced by focusing entirely on it. A firm using focus strategy often enjoys high degree of customer loyalty because you are focusing on a separate or a particular segment only, and you are able to provide better services to them, and those customers are loyal to you and they are not switching from you. Because of this, maybe new competitors, they may be afraid to come to this market. And because of their narrow market focus, firms pursuing focus strategy have lower volumes and therefore less bargaining power with the suppliers. So you are not selling much, so your volume is less. Because of that, maybe you don't have much bargaining power with the suppliers. But however, because the customers are loyal to you, whatever extra cost is coming, you can pass this higher cost to the customers. This is the benefit of focus strategy. So that's the end of this chapter, which is strategic planning. And in the next presentation, we will start with basic concepts of budgets. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for being with me. Thank you. See you in the next presentation. Bye bye.